Hey guys, Dave here, and welcome back to another episode of Press C for Carnage. Joining me as always is Colin Jordan.
Hey, what's up?
Yo.
And today, as always, Jordan is going to kick us off.
You make it sound like I'm the bad guy.
I mean,
what do you mean? You mean?
Well, I mean, yeah. If one of the three of us was the villain, I think you would play the better role.
yeah.
I'm offended. I'm extremely empathetic.
Since when it comes to games, like you always die, and only villains really die.
I am so offended right now.
And Colin is AI, like he's everywhere and anywhere. So
he's GLaDOS.
That only leaves me, Carnage, to be the protagonist. So sorry.
You're the man of too few words.
Yeah,
Carnage.
Yeah. I mean, unless we're talking like Mario, then I would be Bowser because he's cooler.
Wow.
So whatever the cooler role is,
Do me a favor and say the words "peaches, peaches, peaches" over and over again for a few times. I just want to.
I can't because I haven't watched the movie yet. Only you two have. So I cannot disgrace Jack Black that way. So,
all right, so
anyways, carry on.
Well, since we're talking about it, we're gonna roll right into it anyway. So, me and Colin have seen the Super Mario movie last weekend. We were going to wait until Carnage officially saw it, or Dave officially saw it before we talked about it on the podcast. But according to him, he's gonna wait until it comes out on Blu-ray or streaming service or whatever. So, yeah, so I think we're just going to give in and talk about it now because we don't want to wait too long to give our thoughts. I guess I'll start because I guess I'm the villain and I talk too much. So, I loved it. I absolutely freaking loved it. I thought the movie was a strong 8.5 out of 10. Honestly, there was only a few minor things I would have changed about it. The storyline was a little predictable. Which doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, but I am going to take like a decent score off of that to make it not a perfect movie because it was just, I don't know. And I'm not really, it's funny, I'm not really sure what I expected when I say it had a predictable storyline. Like, I'm not sure if I expected like, you know, a cheating storyline, romance storyline where he falls in love with Peach, but then another girl falls in love with him and it becomes a love triangle. I wasn't sure what I was expecting, to be honest, other than just, you know, Bowser gets beat up. So
well, I mean, it is technically a love triangle. Technically,
you're right because Bowser is in love with Peach and Mario loves with Peach, and
it is, but right. I don't believe that either of you went into this movie hoping the storyline stayed true.
I went into
there with pretense of saying, let's hope Chris Pratt doesn't ruin this, and Jack saves the day, and then you guys come out from my viewpoint. You guys come out early. Cyber comes out saying, "Wow, Chris Pratt did not tank this movie." So
it's funny. In the trailers, made him look so bad, dude, like so bad. But honestly, it's funny when so I'm gonna say spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet. I'm gonna talk about a little bit about spoilers, but it's not that big of a deal because some of the things they'll say happen at the very beginning of the movie. So as an example, at the very beginning of the movie, Mario and Luigi quit their construction jobs to start a plumbing company.
Which is lore.
It is all lore. The entire movie is filled with fucking lore. Like there's a part where they walk past a merchant, a street merchant in the Super Mario Toad city town, whatever. And it says antiques on it, and it has a bunch of like old school like Mario 64, like Super Mario for the NES. Blocks, like bricks and stuff that like they don't actually use nowadays to like for like modern Mario. It's actually really funny. Where was I going with this? Oh, so the storyline actually brings up the question as to why Mario doesn't sound like Mario. Because in the commercial, Mario and Luigi make a commercial for their plumbing company that they make after they quit their jobs as construction workers. And in that commercial, they use their, you know, quote unquote Italian accents, which is woohoo, welcome to Mario's, you know, that kind of thing, you know. So, and then they zoom out at the beginning of the movie. They zoom out of the commercial, and it shows Mario and Luigi like all excited and talking about how they spent their life savings on this commercial, but it's their normal voices. It's just them talking. Like they have a slight like Brooklyn accent, but it's not like the wahoo like it's not as emphasized as it was in the game / the commercial that they made. So
I mean, even in the Mario cartoon, he wasn't very Italian. He was more Brooklyn. He had the Italian twang in there. Like he's always had that Italian.
True. You mean the ones from the 90s or whatever, like the animated cartoon.
The animated cartoon. He sounded more Brooklyn than.
Yeah, he definitely way more Brooklyn than in this, to be honest. He's like, hey, I'm walking here.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, no, I actually thought Chris Pratt was decent. Like when you see him in motion as Mario, it actually fits really well. And honestly, in my opinion, I don't know about your opinion, Colin, but in my opinion, a lot of the characters actually worked really well. Like, freaking Jack Black killed it as Bowser, dude. Killed it. The musical performances were amazing. His tone was amazing. His acting was amazing. Like, it just fits so well for Bowser as a character. They nailed that role. I can't see anybody else as Bowser anymore now that Jack Black has done it.
I will say some of the music in the movie wasn't the best. Nothing that wasn't orchestrated. Like the stuff that is original Mario stuff is great.
I was gonna say 99% of it was original Mario. They just like upped its beat a little bit and made it more like electronic. Like
no, that stuff all good. It was the random placement of regular music.
You mean like I need a hero?
Yeah, that type of stuff.
yes.
Take on Me in Donkey Kong Kingdom.
Take on me. I actually thought. I agree with you in that specific instance. I actually thought that song did not fit that part of the movie, to be honest. I disagree with the part where I need a hero. I'm assuming you're saying that doesn't fit as well, but I actually thought that fit really well.
That one was good, but certain ones just don't always fit.
Well, it all boils down to what they were willing to pay for, like
copyright or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
It's whatever Universal Pictures had access to, and I'm sure they've paid a good amount of money just for the
rights.
To the Mario sound effects, period. So you also got to tie in these other songs. I wasn't trying to interrupt you, Carnage. Or Dave. I just wanted to let you know that the songs that you're referring to that they grabbed from the old school games that they contracted Nintendo to get the rights to use for along with the Mario license. All those, in my opinion, I don't know about Colin's opinion, but in my opinion, they did a really good job.
No, all of those were amazing.
Yeah.
I love them.
They're just taking what's already been made and amplifying or remaking them.
It's like a remix. Yeah, they're all remixes.
on a picture stage.
Right.
Yeah.
So that, but they still had to pay a great amount of money, I'm sure, for the licensing. So
I would assume.
On top of that, to spend money on any other song that's like, it's who would care? Who would, besides someone like Colin, who has such a mind that would remember such things as a song that played in between these two songs. Yeah, it's
right.
Nobody's gonna notice. And
but
I have nothing else to say. There's only so much I can say on my end here.
Well, you haven't seen it.
Right. Well, yeah, but other than seeing someone as don't take this wrong, as judgmental as you, Jordan. Hold on now. I expect you to come back with more criticism.
How
like
dare
the rest
you?
of the world, who's only rating this at, Rotten Tomatoes is only rating this at 58%.
Well, that's specifically that's critics. Those are critics.
So I understand, but also 7.4 for my MBD, 3 out of 5 comments. It's just the point of the critics aren't given the value of the show based on the fact that it's a cartoon show.
Well, what I've heard and what I've read is that the Mario movie is not a good movie for critics, specifically for storytelling. Okay, think about it from this. You've never heard anything about Mario. You've been living under a stone your entire life. Why does a mushroom make you grow big or small? They never explained it in the movie. So it's not a movie for critics because a lot of things go unexplained. Why do these pipes take you through dimensions? Why is there this and this and this? I'm not saying that the movie is lost anything from it. For everyone who's even remotely touched Mario, they know how most of this works. But the reason the critics are giving it that is because it's not explained.
Could you imagine a 2.5 hour 3D Mario movie where an hour of those 2.5 hours is just them explaining how magic pipes work or how floating blocks work or power-ups work? Like, that would be so boring.
Well, no, it would be. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I am agreeing that it's kind of dumb. But you have to take it from their perspective. But when you talk to everyone else who's not a critic, you look at I forget, like, just the general public score of it. It's 96, 97. It's a near perfect movie that everyone loves.
Yeah, no, I understand. I know I'm dipping into the negatives here, but when you go into, let's say, Rotten Tomatoes and you read the review, the rotten reviews that they're giving, it's you can tell they're talking bullshit and nonsense. Like, they've probably given the same review for every movie, and I believe an animated movie like this deserves a different kind of critiquing, not just your normal critic that would walk into, Dear John and talk about the story. Sorry, I brought that movie. That's a movie I had to watch the other day with my wife. But
oh, jeez.
My point is, the wrong critics. Sorry, these critics are not doing the right movies. Like, they're
exactly. That's kind of what
reviews. So my point is, this is gonna prevent a lot of movies. Like, when I watch movies, I actually do look at what did the critics say, and if they don't give it a good rating, it's like, I don't want to waste my time on it. So it just, I hope it's not gonna hold this movie back.
I don't think so. From what I saw from the earnings, it's not going to hold it back. They've already made well over.
That's every '90s boom that had to watch the movie regardless. They're getting their bank on that one.
Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna say I went in hoping that it was not another Illuminations movie, and I can say that it wasn't. It was a good movie.
I disagree. The DNA is definitely there. You could see it.
You can see it, but it was not a Despicable Me 2 and 3. Those movies had good qualities compared to the first one, in my opinion. They're not as good.
Right. I agree with that. But I think that's just the way everything is, honestly. Like, I don't know about you, but I have rarely seen a sequel that is better than the original. And there are a few instances in media where that is true, but it's very rare.
DreamWorks.
Yeah, I think that's because these sequels are not being written at the same time as the original. So they're trying to recreate a whole other story to tie into the first story instead of, let's say, Lord of the Rings. They had
reference material.
Exactly. They had reference material. But if they didn't, let's say they didn't have the novels to go off of, say like Harry Potter, they didn't have the novels, they would have written this script in 5, 6, 7 parts, and then they have a complete storyline that they can just cut whenever they decide to make enough cliffhanger.
Right.
It'll be one continuous movie. The sequels are terrible. Like, look at the Fast series, fucking terrible. After Too Fast, Too Furious, it starts to go down, and that's because that's where the script stopped.
Well, not to go off subject for the Super Mario movie review, but to your point, that in that specific instance, the reason for that is because those movies, the way they work is you go to those movies to see explosions. You go there to see,
of course.
What I'm saying is because of that, you go there to see ramp up action, but you can only take so much ramped up action before it starts getting dry and boring because you've seen it 3 movies ago. So what they do is they're always chasing their own tail with those movies because they always have to one up themselves, Super Mario reference, to go above and beyond what they did in the previous movie, which is why like Fast 10 is them going to the freaking moon or whatever. Like, it's stupid. Like, so
yeah.
Okay, so I haven't watched the Super Mario movies. Do they end where, like, with the games where, let's say they had a second Super Mario Bros. 2? Would it?
Okay.
Do they have the storyline to carry into a second?
So the first movie ends. You could end it there, and it'd be done. It's like How to Train Your Dragon 1 or Kung Fu Panda 1.
Self-contained.
You could, or The Matrix, the first Matrix. If you watch it, you don't have to watch the sequels. But they do set up a sequel at the very end of the movie by showing a Yoshi egg.
Yeah, and it
of course,
and it really pisses me off though too, because like My wife looked it up while we were watching the credits, and she goes, "Hey, there's two credits, two after credit scenes. Like one's a mid roll and one's after the actual credits." And she goes, "The critics say that the one after the end credits is the one that matters the most for like a sequel build up or whatever." And we sat there for like 10 minutes waiting for these freaking credits to go through, and then a literal 3-second scene of them zooming in on a freaking rubble in a green spotted egg, and it goes like the noise that Yoshi makes, and I was like, that's it.
My opinion on it is this: even if you're not really paying attention, you're at least giving you get to see the credits play by. I think they're doing it because older movies had the credits at the beginning. And then you watch them, and then you watch the movies. Not all of them.
Older movies showcased the
popular people, I know, but
yes, and then showed everybody that you've never heard of or ever hear again at the bottom.
Yes, but they were kind of there. But
right
in recent times, not even just recent, but it's all at the end. And most people just left, so it keeps people there watching the entire movie.
But why? There's no way that they could there's no way for theaters to benefit from everybody staying in their goddamn seats.
It's not the theater. It's not the theater. It's the people who worked on the movie who get their name in the credits.
To justify adding 10 more minutes to a movie to charge more? I don't understand.
I don't know.
What is the monetary value now this day and age
of somebody sitting
have
through
that
credits?
At the end? Yeah, it's not like they get ad time or anything like on YouTube.
No, but it's showing off the creators. If you worked on a project, you want your name on it, don't you? You go into a class, they give you a project, you're not going to put your name on it and get a 0? No. You want your name showcased.
And we understand that, Colin, but I understand what Carnage is trying to say, though, too. He's saying other than that, making people sit through it. But honestly, that's a crappy argument, Colin, because no one's sitting through the credits, like literally looking at the names subconsciously and memorizing, like, oh, John Carter was the supervisor for the production team. Like, no one cares.
Even if that is their goal, they could easily do what like a lot of Adam Sandler movies have done. I think even Kung Fu Panda did it, where they show little clips through the credits.
I
like
love
on the left
those.
side, right
side.
They're so
good.
They can do the same thing, do it that way.
I freaking love
they do
those.
it at the beginning. They do that at the beginning, like most movies do. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, they have like the big stuff at the beginning, and then it trails off, and then it's just music from the soundtrack and a black screen with
white text.
White text. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's fine, and I usually just stare at the screen and watch text go by, and then I
remember, being younger, and you just want the movie. Like for some reason, you're always stuck sitting there waiting for credits to fucking end, or like you don't have the remote. Like, you're sitting there and you think, oh, it's over. Nope, it's not over. Oh, no, it's not over. Like it's just never fucking ending on credits.
No, it's true. They drag. They definitely.
Whatever
drag.
the reason is, it's.
So
they can just put a QR code on the screen saying, "Here, you want the credits? Scan it on your way out."
I mean,
later.
Technically, what you could do is just, if you really wanted to, you could just skip the credits altogether and then go home and go on your phone / computer and just Google Mario movie after credits scene and then watch a cammed footage of someone recording it on their cell phone.
Anybody that needs to know a name on those credits will not be sitting in our theaters watching the movie.
Right.
Okay. Well, anyone who wants to watch the end credits. The end credit scene doesn't have to watch it in theater. They can go home and watch it, because within like the first 5 minutes you got crappy footage of the end credit scene or an explanation of what it is within 5 seconds of the movie being out.
All right, so sorry to change the subject, but back
we're going on. We're talking about stuff that don't matter.
Back to the review. I have two things I wanted to complain about. One minor and one I mean, not major, but I watched the movie in 3D with my family. So the 3D I'm a little upset about, because it's one of those movies where they just tack the 3D on, if you know what I mean. Like they basically it was a selling point that was not needed. Like they didn't need to make a 3D version of this movie because there was only like.
So it's like Nintendo and the 3DS all over again.
That's not up to the screenwriters. That's because because the box office are demanding it, so they can charge for the booths and the seats. And
so I can count up to 3 times in that movie when I watched it in 3D where I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like it actually pops out at you. But the rest of it, I was just like, oh man, there's nothing happening in this 3D environment. It doesn't even, it's all just meshing together. Like the depth is gone because they're having a conversation or something, you know? So, yeah, I mean, other than it was like 3 instances where like I actually thought the 3D was worth the extra money. At the end of it, I was just like, this wasn't worth a $20 ticket per person. Yeah. But yeah, so other than that, the movie was great. I didn't like the 3D. I would never probably do that ever again. I wouldn't even buy it in 3D if it came out on disc in 3D. The second thing that really, you know, and people are going to think this is such a minor complaint that like, why am I even complaining about it? But there's one voice actor in that entire movie that really got on my nerves, and I did not think their voice matched the character whatsoever. And it actually ruined my experience whenever they were talking and or on screen. Cranky Kong. Donkey Kong's father. I did not like his voice, and I did not think it matched at all for his character. Like it was grinding my ears whenever he spoke. I was just like,
which is odd. That's Fred Armisen, and he's actually a really good comedian.
Right. And I mean, and you might have a different opinion, which is why I didn't want to tell you before
he could have been using a fake voice for all I know.
I don't know, but I just didn't think his voice matched, and honestly, his voice was slightly annoying, and I'm not usually that kind of person where I'm like, oh, your voice is annoying, I don't want to listen to it. I'm usually pretty accommodating for people that have like different voices because you can't control your voice. That's what you were born with. And I don't know if he was doing a different voice or if that was just his normal voice, but it didn't match. It was annoying, and it ruined my movie experience whenever he was on screen. But to bounce off of that, the good news, Seth Rogen freaking killed it as Donkey Kong, dude. Killed it. Like, oh my god. His voice and the laugh, the trademarked Seth Rogen, like, it works so well. It works so well for Donkey Kong. Like, I was busting up laughing when he beat the crap out of Mario and like stood over him and went like DK.
How long of screen time did he have?
I would say
like 10 minutes.
Like no, I think they get
like 15 maybe at the most.
No. Donkey Kong was in there for a while. I think they went to the Donkey Kong area at around halfway, and then he was there for a good portion of it. I think he got like 30 minutes of
the only reason I
time.
asked is that, you know, you say his trademark laugh is good. It just, the reason I asked is if it would die off after a long period of time. But if he's been on screen for half an hour, then obviously it works.
No, I don't think. No, he's not. It's not like he's the like if he was Mario and there was an hour and a half movie of him going, I would be like, okay, this is kind of annoying. Like, but no, it works really well, honestly. And it's not like he's doing it all the time. I think if I remember correctly, he laughs twice, maybe 3 times, like with his trademark laugh. Other than that, it's mostly just dialogue. So. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I thought most of the voices worked really well. Like Toad's voice is really good. Like Michael Peel, I can't think of his name. It's like Key. His name is Key from Key and Peele.
Michael K.
Keegan Michael, thank you. Yeah, he killed it as Toad. He was perfect. It actually grew on me, to be honest, because at first I was like, that doesn't really sound good for a Toad. But then after a while, I was like, you know what? It's kind of growing on me. I kind of dig it. And Peach freaking nailed it, dude. Oh my god, she's such a badass.
I will say that compared to the games, Peach's face looks a bit off.
And I think that's just the way that Illumination does females. To be honest, yeah, okay. They just do women that way. Honestly, they just,
to me, it looked like she had way too small of a nose.
I mean, have you seen any of the women in the Despicable Me movies? Like specifically 3 when he marries what's her face?
Hold up. Those are new designs. You can give leeway with that because that's their design.
Right.
But Mario, not so much.
I mean,
it looked a bit off. Nothing against it. I watched the movie. It was fine. It's just something that bounced out at me. Like that doesn't look right.
Honestly, I like it. I don't know. It didn't bother me at all. I thought she looked great. So,
everything else was fun.
Yeah, I thought the movie was a strong 8.5, maybe even a 9 out of 10. I'd probably stick with an 8.5 though, and the only reason I'm not making it a 9 is because honestly, Cranky Kong ruined my entire movie experience every time he was on screen.
I had no problem with Cranky Kong because here's the thing: I never played the Donkey Kong games. I never watched the show,
right?
So I never really got a voice for him.
They didn't have a voice in the game.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's not why I'm mad about it. I'm not mad because that's a reference point for me. I'm mad because me as a moviegoer, it just bothered me that his voice didn't. It's like putting, you know what? This is what I told my wife. This is what I told my wife when I got out of the movie. I thought Cranky Kong's voice actor, if he was okay to do it, I know he's really old now, and he's probably he should be retired if he hasn't already. But Christopher Lloyd would be a really, really good voice for Cranky Kong. Honestly, that's who I pictured being Cranky Kong, because that's the kind of voice he needs to have. But the voice he had was like that of a prepubescent 12-year-old. Like it didn't.
We need to get back to the 90s.
Yeah, he was like, son, we need to get back, son. Like, and Donkey Kong's like,
Christopher Lloyd is 84 years old, man. I don't think he's doing much acting.
No. Again, I know, but as an example, his voice would have been perfect for Cranky Kong, and that was just
mind you, he is playing in the Mandalorian series.
Oh, damn. Okay.
He might actually have no.
I heard they're bringing him back for a remake, like TV show / reboot of Back to the Future with.
I will murder the producers.
Oh, gee! Hey, whoa! In a video game. To everyone listening, in a video game.
You can expect that any movie made between the 1980s to 2000s will be remade, based on the bold move of the Harry Potter series coming out.
I'm so mad about that. I'm so mad, dude.
There's a new what?
Yeah, HBO announced a new Harry Potter TV series.
Yeah, but the only real reason that the Harry Potter's movie was worked is because you had whatever his name and all the cast growing up between the movies.
Yes.
I would have been so biased about this too. However, my wife finally watched the Harry Potters for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and she had a lot of criticism towards the movies. And I said it would have been different if you grew up with them.
Exactly.
Like I was so angry with it. Like, you know what? I had to wait a minute. She's watching this at I think she's probably gonna get slapped. 27 years old right now. Difference. It's a huge difference in watching it and starting. I forget how.
I can just see your face. I can see you like turning slowly to look over your shoulder at her, being like, "Really, really."
Yeah. So, yeah, I can understand the wanting to remake it. It doesn't work. If you didn't grow up with it, you don't have
right.
There are a lot of flaws you point out.
I get it.
Look, I just don't want a remake of the Back to the Futures. They were perfect the way they are.
There's going to be a remake of Indiana Jones, for Christ's sake.
Well, those they should actually remake, to be honest. Because
and Harrison Ford is doing exactly what you're doing, Colin. Yes.
They can't remake it without Harrison Ford as Indiana
Jones. Yes, they can. Because trust me, they don't need his old ass in these freaking movies.
No. They can remake them, but I don't want them to.
You're saying right. You're saying this is a Jurassic Park. They can, but they never stop to ask if they should.
Exactly. Like, look, if they did a passing of the torch to Indiana Jones' son, and my mom says this, if they made Chris Pratt Indiana Jones' son,
right,
and did a passing of the torch, I'd be okay with it. But if it's a reboot, no.
It's funny you say that because Chris Pratt was rejected to be.
Really?
To replace Harrison Ford. He was honest to God, yes.
Honestly, I think who would make a really good replacement, like son for Indiana Jones, would be that kid, the main character kid from the Stranger Things TV show, the tall, lanky kid with the black hair.
I never watched that series.
Anyway,
but okay, so let's just end this topic so we can move on to the next one. So Super Mario movie, it was a strong 8.5 out of 10. Loved it.
9 out of 10 from me.
I loved it. I would have given it a 9 if it wasn't for Cranky Kong's shitty voice actor. But I loved it. I loved everything about it. The references were great. The critics hated the references for some reason. They thought it was
Because they weren't explained. They weren't explained.
I was gonna say, I saw some of the critics say even though they grew up on Mario, they said that the reason they gave it a low score is because there was too many. They said it was like eye-popping how many references they throw in there.
A lot of the critics between Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb say that this was a lazy attempt of a movie for Mario. They consider it lazy.
I consider it a bubble wrap. It's a bubble wrapped attempt. It's not meant to hurt anybody, but it's not meant to be like blockbuster.
It doesn't matter. So far they're at 650 million sales. So
I know. Like, considering like this movie versus the old one, I think it was a good.
Oh, you didn't like the costume design?
I love the old one. Dude, I told my coworkers this. When you watch the old one as a full-grown adult, you appreciate all of the little details and stuff they put into that movie because the storyline doesn't make a lick of sense when you're a child. Like when I watched it when I was like 11, I had no freaking clue what the hell was going on. But I watched it recently, like a month or two ago, and I actually really appreciate what they did with that movie. Like it's not a great movie, I will admit to that, but it's one of those movies that's so niche. And like I don't want to say bad necessarily, but it's that old saying, it's so bad it's good. It's kind of like that. It's like it's niche and it's got these weird little like nuances, but like they click when you're an adult. When you just like, oh, that makes sense. Why? Oh, no, I understand why they did that. Like it's.
Well, the problem is not everyone like that, so they had to compensate with this movie to make sure that kids were getting it, but they also got the money from the people who want to see, like, I remember that from my childhood, that one too, and all the other different things. I know my parents were super into that.
Right. All I gotta say is I would love a rated R sequel to this movie, also in 3D, where they reveal that the mushrooms he's been eating to get big and small have actually been a part of Peach's father, who's been turned into a mushroom, and he's literally just been eating her dad the entire time.
Yeah, we all know that won't happen.
Well, that literally can't happen because it's explained that she's literally from a different universe,
right? So. Which also begs the question: is she's gonna age at some point, right? Like,
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Because I mean, she was there as a child, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like it's a weird coincidence that they all arrived there when she's like in her prime, like when she's in her early 20s or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just weird to me. I feel like. I don't know, whatever.
Okay, well, if you're going to comment on that, don't you think it's weird that the Mario Brothers just happen to fall upon the right sewer that takes them to a green pipe that drops them into a different universe?
That's structural coincidences. That's not the same.
Okay, but this is also a structural coincidence that she's the same age. I don't want to hear it from you.
You're saying her body is a structural coincidence?
Her age is, yes.
Shut up. Get out of here. Oh my god. Oh man. All right. Should we take a small break, guys? Would like to go grab a drink and stuff real quick. All right. We'll be right back, guys.
Hey, you!
Who, me?
Yes, you! What do you think you're doing?
Well, I was just feeding my pet, Alligator.
Who cares about all that? Why haven't you followed or subscribed to Press C for Carnage's social media pages yet?
Well, you see, I don't really play video games, so...
Do you think that matters? Just because you don't play them doesn't mean you can't listen or follow. Come now, give it a try. Press it. Press the button.
Please stop yelling at me. You're kind of scaring me.
I'm not yelling. I'm just stating cold, hard facts.
What? You haven't said any kind of facts. All you did was ask a question and...
Stop with the back sass. Push the button. Don't touch that button. It's the...
Hey, we're back. Did you guys have a good break?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got myself some brownies here. 2 bag brownies with some milk.
I was gonna say, did you buy them or did your wife make them?
I do all the cooking. Thank you. But no,
wow, that was sexist, Jay, man.
What?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
My wife makes brownies. What do you mean?
No.
Well, you assume
do all the cooking. Well, my wife does a lot for me.
Dave,
so,
Dave, I want to see you in nothing but an apron, Dave.
Only my wife has those pictures. Now, so yeah, I got some 2 bag brownies here with some milk. Getting a little cozy over here in the Carnage throne room.
The Carnage cave.
Carnage Cave.
It's a throne room. Thank you.
Covered in bodies.
There are some barred windows. Okay, it's a room.
Barred windows.
Not a dungeon. It's a room.
That's where his wife puts him when he does bad.
Who knows? Yeah, I wish.
All right.
Do you wear the Carnage crown on that throne?
Carnage crown? It's just a femur.
A fucking fever. Yeah. That'd be cool for any design. If there's any designers listening to our podcast, if you want to make me a crown to go on I'm the middle character. Oh, sorry, if you're not watching, sorry. I'm a knight. If you want to make me a crown, I will pay your commission if you can make me a badass femur crown. And you can send it to our email, expresscforcarnage@gmail.com. You can send it there. Yes. Anyways.
Oh, that's funny as hell. All right, let's talk about the game we played a little bit earlier on our live channel. If anyone wants to go watch us play it, it's on YouTube, archived after this podcast is done. So Dave, me, you, and Colin played a little bit of Scrap Mechanic, the early access, 7 years early access. It came out in 2016. Early access, like Minecraft, like I guess is what you would call it, like a base building crafting game, where the main premise is, I guess it's you versus robots, and you gather parts. You can make vehicles, you can make other robotic like structures / objects. Why don't we start with you, Carnage? What were your thoughts on the hour and a half we spent on it before we Steam refunded it?
Oh, I got a brownie in my mouth.
Okay, sorry. My bad.
No, it's fine. It was terrible.
Let me finish my brownie. It was terrible.
Let me be clear.
Let me be clear. I never played this game beforehand, so we loaded into this, all three of us, into one lobby, hosted by Colin.
Mm-hmm.
But the multiplayer was unbearable.
It was laggy.
The rubber banding is atrocious for a 3-player lobby.
And Colin has really good internet too, don't you, Colin? Your internet's
Okay, I'm going to clarify this by saying this is a known issue in the game, though it is a valid claim. Yes, I agree. It is terrible. However, this game was made single player first, multiplayer second.
And I'm okay to accept that as an excuse. However, my counterpoint is this game came out in 2016. It's been 7 years. Like, what? Small team or not, what the hell are they doing over there?
I'll say this for every game: if you're going to go multiplayer, go client side. Stop with this fucking home server bullshit, player server hosting. It's terrible.
The lag was unbearable.
Because you're going from Texas to wherever it's going to reroute to, which is probably New York.
Right.
And from there, it's going to go from both Canada, where I am, and then back down to.
Just so you know, I'm in Pennsylvania, and even I was lagging. So yeah,
So it's not going to work. And if you got players, especially an early access game like this, online, you're gonna have. I have friends that live across seas in Asia, so. The thought of even trying to load this game, it's just not going to happen.
Unbearable.
So that hurt game right off the hop.
Yeah.
Second game, the graphics are cool.
I like the art style. I personally like the art
they're
style.
unique. The water caustics are great. You can see there's no plant movements or any of that crap. But apart from that, it's meh. There's no clear objective of what to do. The odd thing shows up and tells you what to do.
I mean, there is, but at the top right, quote unquote. But it's not. To your point, you said there's no clear objective. That is true. There is an objective, and it is,
First thing you have to do is save your fucking burning shit. Fuck water, food, fuck anything. You can't play. You're gonna get attacked and die.
Yeah, the food situation honestly is where I was getting the most irritated because And I get the point that it's not Minecraft. Stop trying to treat it like Minecraft. I get that, but you also have to think as a video game developer: is my game fun? Yes, no. In my opinion, no. It was not fun because trying to run around with a chicken with your head cut off, trying to put a fire out on a spaceship that you crashed on, instead of worrying about your food and your hunger, which they have, by the way. They have food and hunger.
I will say this: that was mostly me because I rushed through it. That part of your experience, that was me, because as soon as you exit the ship, as soon as you spawn in, if you turn around from looking at the ship, there is an area, and if you walk down, there is literally a sign telling you how to farm. It has all the stuff you need to farm and all of that. That is just a me thing. So
gotcha.
It does explicitly tell you how to farm, and it will teach you that mechanic.
Got you. Okay. Well, then I take back my criticism for that instant. I still think there's some...
I do agree with you that farming in that game is annoying.
It's unintuitive. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, that's fair. My argument for most of this is, though it's not a really good argument, is it was made creative first and multiplayer. It's not multiplayer. Survival second. For years.
And I get that. I
creative.
get that, but again, that's not a valid excuse.
It is not. It is.
Whatever.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Maybe it rubs off me wrong.
It
doesn't hit my check marks right off the bat.
No.
It doesn't keep me focused and entertains.
Yeah, I would have given it a thumbs up if it wasn't for the fact that the beginning just like tosses a. It's like they toss a boulder onto your freaking head and they expect you to like lift it up while barely struggling to survive as it is with everything going on around you. And I just like
that's fair.
I don't like it. It's too much pressure right off the bat. Like, just let me break down trees, which they do, but it's terrible. Let me build a home, which they do, but it's terrible. And let me make food sources of some sort. Also, why don't they let me drink out of the freaking water? There's an entire lake nearby where we spawned. And I can't drink it. They won't let you drink it.
Wow. Would you drink alienated water?
I would. In a heartbeat. In a freaking heartbeat. But no, I just like.
Anyways, it was boring. This is coming from a guy who, 3 hours ago, was playing Farming Simulator. So
yeah, you were playing Farming Simulator and loving it. So yeah, for you to say a game is boring is definitely a harsh criticism.
Yeah. I play hardcore solitaire, bitches.
I play Minesweeper.
Yeah.
What did you think about it, Colin? Let's get your...
I mean, I've been playing it for a while. My thing on survival is I don't play a lot of the survival. That's not where I care. I mostly do the creative, where I can screw around and build these huge creations. If you go on the Scrap Mechanic Workshop, you can find millions of downloadable creations. Like, there's people who have made transformers and huge airships and puzzle maps and bunches of other things. Right. You have to be in the mood, and it also does have a huge modding scene.
Yeah, but then it's like, I'm going to go on Minecraft and build a giant fort that I'll never see again in my life.
That's fair.
I just don't feel like that's the direction they should be going in, is like workshop style map making,
Well, that's where they were for years. You have to realize it's a 7-year-old game, and only 3 years ago is when survival was even implemented.
Right, but
it was even dropped.
Yeah, and I get that, but I mean, there are indie games out there, or like indie companies that have like 2-3 people that are releasing AAA level quality indie games in 3 to 4 years time. Where the hell are these people doing? Why are they sitting on their laurels? Like, they're sitting on their thumbs, twiddling up their butts. Like, what is going on with this game? It's at version 0.6 after 7 years. 7 years. Like, what?
Well, we don't know what their path is. We don't know. What they needed, what they had to struggle for progression. We don't know that.
No,
I have a question. What was your opinion on Raft? Was it a good game?
I liked Raft. Yeah,
the Raft is made by the same people.
So why are they spread so thin? Why?
Because they are spread thin. It is lack of support. It's not a huge team.
And I get that, but they should be hiring more people. If the game, both of these games are fairly successful, judging by the amount of people that have reviewed them and how well they've reviewed both of them, Raft and Scrap Mechanic.
Because it's a different type of
they've made
people playing the game.
I get that. My point is, though, they've made money. They've obviously made a decent amount of money. Hire more people. Stop this. Stop wasting 7 years of people's time. Like,
let's see how much they can potentially pay.
Are you just gonna judge by the review count and then multiply that by?
Yeah. So right now it's on sale, Canada for $21.99 for me. So if we just do quick math at $21, they're sitting at 1.8 million. So of sales, not to mention like I refunded my $20.
Oh,
so
you got to take 30% off the top though too, because Steam takes 30%.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In the end, this still counts towards established capital or equity. So
right. So like $1 million. Let's just round down to $1 million.
Anybody who's giving a positive review probably didn't return this game, but let's say they did. Let's say they're only sitting at $1 million. It's still the point of how much if it costed more than $1 million, they're still trying to do a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
You can only polish a turd so much.
So I'm going to take this. So they have, if this is true, as of February 6th of this year, they have 33 people working with it, which includes everything, which is story writers.
That's a lot more people than I'd expect for a game that's been sitting for 7 years at what it is right now.
It seems like you
don't know.
And I know that.
What
I know
game?
That. I know.
Okay, I'm going to explain to you that this game has a lot of stuff that needs optimizing more than story and gameplay elements. Because
with the logic.
you see your multiplayer stuff.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that is being fixed by a lot of their team, because it was worse than it is today.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'll give them props for that. Then I'll give them props.
The whole thing is they're working on stuff. If you go back to earlier revision, they don't add a lot of items, but they do a lot of optimizing for the engine. And that's the main problem is they literally in their settings have a physics slider that can turn down and up the physics engine to make sure certain creations work, because certain things require certain amounts of everything, and they have to make sure everything works.
Right.
So it is a spread thin team, and that's where I give them stuff. Not that the criticisms aren't valid. I agree with you that the food and all that is not a good situation.
It's extremely overcomplicated for no goddamn reason at all. Like, it doesn't need to be. Like, it doesn't. All they had to do was give you wild berry bushes. That would have literally solved the entire problem. Just like make it so random berry bushes spawn throughout the world or something. That's all they had to do. And in my entire time exploring the map in that hour and a half, I found one berry. And guess where it was? It wasn't attached to a bush. It was in the asshole compartment of a robot that I had to kill. Like, why? Like, that is so... I just don't understand the logic behind... And I understand what you're saying. Maybe they're spread thin, making the entire team is working on both Raft and this game, and maybe even a third game. I don't know. I don't know their circumstances, but when you get to the point where the game is becoming more filled with content rather than or fixing bugs rather, and more content to add to the end game rather than trying to fix the beginning of the game, because the beginning of the game is where the problem is. I'm assuming that game is amazing once you get up and running and everything.
It's better.
But I have an issue with this, because this is like my friends, whenever I have a bunch of friends at work that play video games, like coworkers, and they play sports games, right? And they're like, oh, this game is great once you get blah, 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 so-and-so, on your team, on your sports team. Once you got this person, once you've unlocked Michael Jordan on your basketball team video game, the game becomes great. The game becomes fun. I'm not spending 30 hours, 40 hours, 50 hours on a freaking video game until it becomes fun. I'm not doing that. Like, that's not...
Well, yeah, that's fair. Like, I give you that, but that's my opinion.
Have to do that for
what?
Remnant.
Is that where we're gonna segue?
Yes, because you guys are ruining my brownie time here. So,
okay, fine.
We need to.
I'm gonna say that Scrap Mechanic's a good game for creative, and if you're into building very complex things, and you like just building cool mechanical things.
I'm gonna translate.
Survival is not the best.
I'm gonna translate what you said into layman's terms. If you're okay with being bored out of your fucking mind, go ahead and get the game.
Okay. Then I'm gonna say layman's terms for New World is it's not good early game and it gets boring, because that's my opinion on it.
That's fine, and that's fine.
And there we go. And your opinion on this game is that it's boring in the early game.
I
disagree with you on that.
I love you.
So back to what I tried to say, Remnant. So,
Remnant from the Ashes, specifically. You gotta say.
Against my better judgment, I decided to buy Remnant while Jordan was playing with his wife.
Yeah, and we beat it together.
We did. It's a very short campaign. Within, I think it was how many hours we played, like 25 hours.
25-ish. Yeah.
We steamrolled through the campaign and the DLCs
with a mod that actually increases the difficulty.
Yeah, we weren't on Nightmare or whatever the hellish one is. We were on a harder.
It was hard. Yes.
Love the game. It feels great. It's like a weird FPS Souls game. Yeah, like it's
not first person shooter. It's third person. It's a third person over the shoulder. Person,
but I still consider that
right
first person.
And I think it came out in 2019. I believe was its release date.
Yeah, it was 2019. It's fantastic game. Every scene you go through is a challenge. There is no, unless you are a god at first time walkthroughs, like
right.
You're gonna have a tough time, and I absolutely love that about the game. I cursed the entire time.
We both did. We fought the same boss a lot.
We did. We actually relied on a much less skillful player and his wife Megan, who helped carry us through this.
Like, my gosh, she was so good. No way we would have done this
without the third person. But yeah, I'm very excited for Remnant 2. That's supposed to come out soon.
We should probably mention that the reason we were playing a 4-year-old game now or whatever was because we were preparing. I wanted to get Carnage into it because I wanted him to get into it to in preparation for the second one that's coming out later this year. So yeah, Remnant 2 has been announced. Yeah. It's supposed to come out third quarter of 2023. So it's anywhere between June of this year and October. So
yeah, and like the vast majority, like the weapons are very seldom that you can choose from. They're hard to get. You got to grind for them.
Yeah.
But also imagine if you ever played Destiny 2, you went through the raids or bosses. Picture that, but everybody's the boss.
Well, I was gonna say actually a better comparison would be any MMO actually. Like any MMO with raiding mechanics is the same.
There's your normal ads, your elite ads, and your boss ads, but there's also boss ads that become elite ads in the real world.
Yes.
So you're constantly going up against, huge health bar enemies, and you gotta do your timings right. You gotta be strategic. Really fun game.
Yes.
And I pity anybody who had to play the solo.
Right? Yes.
It is a nightmare, and like the bosses are RNG, and it's fantastic game. I never thought I would play it, but
I'm really glad you gave in and got it and played with us. To be honest, like whether or not you thought the 25 hours you spent with us was worth the entry price, I still am happy you played with us because I thought it was way more fun with you and Megan.
It was, yeah, and I'm actually surprised. We normally don't finish a campaign or a game, but we did finish this one. But I felt unfulfilled, if that makes sense. I kind of wish the campaign was a bit longer.
Did those brownies you just ate fulfill you? Do you not feel fulfilled after
those? They did. Well, those fulfilled me more in this campaign. Like when I say more the DLC, when they added the extra storyline,
right,
where you fought the host of the Root.
Yes.
All the bosses were in the world walking around. You kind of got. It's almost like they slammed all the hard shit in. On your walk through to the main boss, which is okay, but you miss out on that grind time and that self of
exploration.
Well, you don't know, like accomplishment when you take. There's no more satisfying game though when you take down a boss. You after like 10 times, like you feel so accomplished.
Yes.
Only to get wrecked 5 minutes later.
Yeah, then we got too powerful and we beat the final boss in like one try.
Well, and I think that was deliberate. I really do, which was sad. Like the one con I have is the final boss on the DLC is he's too easy, he's stupid, he sounds dumb. He went out like he's this all-powerful host of this route.
Yeah.
That they're using him as a host, and he's nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should. Speaking of that, we should probably bring up our thoughts on the storyline or lack thereof. I mean, well, there is a storyline, but it's kind of
it's vague. It really is, but it should be because you're this anonymous person coming into the world to save the day. Nobody knows you. You don't know them. You don't know what the fuck's going on.
Right, and you're
just being
immortal.
sent off to find this Ford dude. Yeah, it's very vague, and I think Remnant 2 is gonna really elaborate on that.
I hope so. I really hope so.
The DLC kind of did, but yeah, no, the storyline and the NPCs you're talking to, like they talk to you like you should know what they're talking about.
Right. Yeah, they treat you like you've been there for 100 years, and are like, oh, you know.
Yeah. And your character, even though you get to choose your character's voice, still doesn't talk back. Or how are we not at a day and age where your character talks back for you? When you select what you want to say, have them say it.
Yeah.
How hard is that?
Can we talk about NPCs, by the way? That one engine NPC lady is really annoying.
Oh, yeah. She's a bitch.
Every single time you go up to her to initiate, and I wouldn't be so upset about it if it wasn't for the fact that she's like literally one of the two main NPCs that you go to for like merchant related stuff or like buying items. Because every time you interact with her, it's what the fuck do you want? What the fuck do you want?
Every other NPC, they kind of act the same throughout, but they always know when you completed a milestone.
Yeah.
And they credit you for it, and then you go back to your normal, what can I sell you?
Right.
This chick doesn't give a shit that you just saved the entire fucking world.
Yeah, no.
She doesn't care. Just a little bitch to you. Yeah.
Yeah, you beat the final boss, grab the item that he drops, go back to her specifically to create the item so you can like maybe do New Game Plus or whatever. And she goes, what the fuck do you want? I'm like, bitch, I just saved your life.
Yeah, you just beheaded this being that she needed. You ripped out a jewel from a guy's head for crafting a weapon, and she just plays it off like it's, I could have did that.
Yeah, like I just beat the final boss with my fist, you bitch. I also,
but it's funny at the same time.
It was. I think the game is a near perfect game if it wasn't for the fact the storyline I didn't give really two shits about. The lore, the funny thing is I was really interested in the lore, but the cutscenes didn't really feed that itch or scratch that itch rather, feed that itch. Scratch that itch for wanting to know what this world is about, why everything is happening the way it is. I mean, because there was a lot of plot holes in certain instances, like there's a part where you find, the main character or the guy who started your journey before he like gave up on it, basically. Like you find the previous hero, his name is Ford. He's like an 80-year-old man. Apparently he's immortal too and has lived for like hundreds of years or whatever. You find him in a jail cell with like no food, no guards, nothing, just like in a dungeon corner. So you have to kill everything to get to him. But like by the time you get to like the room before his room where he's held, there's nothing guarding him. There's nobody there. There's no food. You're presumed to believe he's been in there for decades. But
that engine lady discouraged him from continuing his mission.
Yeah. But no, it's how is he still alive and how has he not escaped? And meanwhile, how the fuck did he get back home?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we activated the crystals. So he has absolutely no idea how they work. No idea. But he's miraculously got home.
Right.
Meanwhile, just before that, we had a little tidbit that he may or may not have sexual affairs with a goat chick.
The goat chick, yes. Yes.
Which they don't elaborate on. He doesn't talk about it.
They actually did. I don't know if you were paying attention, but there was another NPC we came across later that was one of those like merchant NPCs you find randomly out in the world that sell you like random crap. You can only get through them. You talk to her. She was also an animal person on the same planet that goat chick was from. And you pay her like scrap, which is the currency in the game for everyone listening. So you pay her scrap and she'll tell you secrets, here's the secret. One of the secrets she says is that Ford was in she says, quote unquote, close relations with the goat chick that you were talking about that we spoke to before that. So she literally confirmed it. She was like, yeah, you gave me money. I'm going to tell you straight up that human was having sex with this chick.
Yeah, it was fucked. Yeah.
I love.
Well, I mean, the world was ending, so
it was. Also, she kind of had a hot voice, to be honest. Like, no, ask Carnage. Like when she started talking when we first met her, I was like, damn.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
She's tall, like Lady Dimitrescu too. I was like, oh my god, the voice and the height. I don't give a shit about that hair. Give me hair.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, with this game, they really play heavily on elemental bonuses and buffs and debuffs. And
yes, the elemental
really
damage
cool.
system
The guns,
is very good.
the elements mean everything to your progression.
Yes.
And even there's some times where we were naive about it and made our life so much harder.
Yeah.
When we actually do equip the appropriate weapon or perk, it's like, oh my god,
right?
It's so easy. So, yeah,
So there was the thing that sucks is, like, I know you and Megan didn't want to go back through it again or whatever, but there actually was more different loot we could have gone if we replayed like New Game Plus with a harder difficulty, because the way that game works, and I'm not really too much of a huge fan of it, because it feels like they're locking off content with the intent for you to replay it, and I don't really like that kind of strategy. That's the only real one complaint I have about it, other than the storyline being kind of meh. But because like there's like a decent amount of items like weapons, melee weapons, firearms, and accessories like armor pieces and everything too, that you can only get through beating some of those bosses on harder difficulties, like the hell mode or whatever the hell it's called. So I don't like that as a mechanic. I don't think games should have that. I think that all the items should be available within the game, no matter the difficulty. I'm okay with procedural generation. That's fine.
Well,
I was okay with that.
The thing about that is, when you transfer your player from one person's world to another, you take everything you've earned into that world. So it wouldn't be fair that you brought your character into an easier world, or your easy character in a hard world, get the gun, go back. Like, I understand the reasoning for it.
I see what you're saying. Okay, I didn't really think of that. I just feel like it's the same thing as like when you see a video game that comes out and they lock off content, or like include the content, but then like data miners find it like a month later saying like it was already in the game, but then you find out that they're selling it as DLC that you have to access. That's happened a lot over the last few years. But
at the same time, there's no NFTs with this game.
True. And I'm not saying that it's similar to that instant. It's not microtransaction hell. It's not. It's a game you buy. It's a closed experience. There's no microtransactions, and I love that. I love everything about it, other than the storyline was kind of meh, and some of the items I kind of wish you had access to on normal difficulty. But that's neither here or there. So that's just a personal opinion.
I mean, it is what it is, but it's a fantastic game, well worth your $1. I suggest you guys try it over the next few weeks because it's going to go on sale before Remnant 2 comes out.
I think it was on sale when you bought it, wasn't it?
When I bought it, it was on sale.
Right.
It will go on sale again. Steam's good like that.
Right. Just for everyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, if they came in late to the live video, or have forgotten what we said at the beginning, the game is called Remnant from the Ashes. That is the game we're talking about. So, and it is on consoles. It is on most of the consoles other than Switch. I don't believe it's on Switch, but it is on Xbox and PlayStation and PC. So, yeah. All right, cool. There was another game that I thought maybe we should talk about, but I don't remember what it was. There was another game that we did actually play.
Describe it.
Can't think of it off the top of my head right now. It was Remnant, Scrap Mechanic. There was another. It wasn't Deceive. We talked about Deceive Incorporated last time.
We played Subnautica.
There wasn't Subnautica.
Did all of us play it, or was it y'all two?
I think it was me and Carnage specifically.
Talk about prep work, guys.
Not a big deal. We can talk about it next time if I figured it out. So, do you guys just want to end it there? Do you have anything you want to bring up?
Well, yeah, I just want to say for all whoever's still listening, that there's a couple games coming out for this month that I think everybody should keep an eye out for. One's Dead Island 2 that
I can't wait for that.
We'll be playing.
Yes.
It's coming out on the 21st.
Yes. We should play
that weekend. Jordan and I will be playing it.
We should play through the first one again before that, actually, like we did with Remnant.
We'll live stream it.
I'm down for that. I love the first one. I am down.
Now, the reason for me bringing this up is my game is coming out on the 28th, and it's Jedi Survivor.
Oh, I can't wait to hear your review of that.
I will. Well, that's just it. I'm going to live stream the entire campaign.
Oh, hell yeah. On our official...
On the 28th, yes. On our official channel, probably YouTube, so press C, #4 Carnage.
Got it.
Which is being a prick to us. I'm not sure we're gonna go live on there, but it's gonna play the entire campaign so you guys can see.
Oh, nice! I love that, and that'll go really well with your review afterwards as well. So hell yeah!
Oh,
awesome.
So, yeah,
I
would 28th for this game.
I would join in with you and do another game when it comes out. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom on there, but I don't have a thing to hook it up to my computer.
Well, if it's anything like the first Jedi, it's gonna take like 20 hours for me to do this game.
Oh, that's not terrible. You gotta do it on like a weekend, just sit through the entire thing, do a 20-hour live stream.
Well, the 28th is Friday, so I'm gonna play as much as I can on the Friday.
Gotcha.
So it depends. If I can steamroll through it, I will. But I know people like to go through lore in this. So it all depends on our viewer count and on how much you get through. But I do plan to do the entire campaign.
I'm excited for you. I know you've been excited, so awesome.
Nice, man.
Yeah. Apart from that, nothing much.
I was just gonna say before we end, sorry to interrupt. I was just gonna say I just remembered it wasn't a game that we played together, but I was gonna say I have been playing Cyberpunk 2077. And I am probably gonna be playing some more of it tonight on my own personal stream at Cyber J-Man. But I'm like an hour and 15 into it already, which is not enough to like say anything about it. But I just want to say the graphics are freaking gorgeous. Like I am stunned by the amount of detail in that game. Like holy crap.
Yeah, and I played that upon release. And can I just say, Project Red, make a multiplayer mode already. Come on, there's no reason that I can't play a supportive character in his campaign.
Oh, you do like a GTA Live kind of thing?
Let us not even doesn't have to be GTA Live because the world's technically not big enough.
Right.
Just let me do co-op. Because he's playing it. And I really want to play it, but I don't want to buy another copy for my PC just to play the same fucking game I already played.
Right.
Come on, multiplayer. Just anything.
Gotcha. All right, I agree. I think Cyberpunk with multiplayer would be freaking cool, but I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. They're still technically ironing out the bugs. So, all right, is that what we're gonna call it for tonight, guys?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. I appreciate you guys very much. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.